Oh, I got a little project for you for the next 2 minutes. There is a word that is seen more in Joshua 6 than any other place in the entire scriptures. I'll give you a $5 gift card if you can tell me what word it is, and I will only accept 5 answers. After that, there is a word in Joshua 6 that's mentioned more than any other chapter in the entire Bible. This word is mentioned more in this chapter than any other chapter in the Bible. What word is it? Cammy? Compass. No. Kyler? No, it's not ant. You wasted one on that one, Kyler. Josh?
Accursed.
Accursed?
Accursed.
Accursed. No, it is not. We only got 2 left. Emily?
Trumpet?
Trumpet! No. But that was a great guess.
It's so many.
There are some other chapters that have the word trumpet in it more.
What?
There are some, but it's not trumpet. But that was a really good guess, Emily. Libby, our last guess.
Shout?
Shout. No?
Wait, can I get?
All right, Abby, go.
Art?
That's the word. It's the. Isn't that interesting? The word ark is mentioned more in this chapter than any other one chapter in the Bible. Why? I can't believe it. You got it on the last guess. You got it on the 6th guess. I'll give you 2 away.
It's the first word that came to head. It's the first word that jumped.
Okay, why? Why is the word ark mentioned more in this chapter? What's our story? What's this all about? By the way, what does the ark represent? Everyone together? You know this. Ark represents what? Presence of God. The presence of God. So now, no, by the way, wouldn't that be a fun fact for your devotional guide? Because it is true. The word ark is mentioned more in this chapter than any other chapter in the Bible. Presence of God. Okay, what's going to happen here? Jericho's coming down. What's Jericho a picture of? We haven't got there yet, have we? All right? I'm going to come back to that question. Why is ark an ark representing the presence of God? All right, let's move on. What did Joshua need? Okay, are we on number 4? Number 4, what did Joshua need to do? He needed to obey this captain and trust this captain. The orders are weird. These are not what you normally would fight. There's no weapons that are going to occur. But what did Joshua need to do? He needed to obey the captain. And guys, that's all we need to do in life. We just need to obey the captain. Even this doesn't make any. Okay, there's so many cool things about you millennials or Generation Zs. There's so many cool things about you guys. But I am going to tell you one little thing that is a little problem with you guys. You always want to know why. Now that could be a really good thing, can't it? I mean, it's like, I want to know why. Hey, you know what? I'll do this, but you got to give me a reason why I need to do this. Guys, can I tell you, that was not true in my... Because some of you were like, well, of course. I mean, obviously, why is the key word? No. Why is that the key question? The key question is who. It's not why. In your life, guys, you will come to many times where you will not understand why. And when you don't understand the why, you need to find out who. And that who needs to be God. And I am going to tell you something. Generation Z wants to know why. Now, there's a lot of great things about that, okay? I think you guys are like, I want to know why I believe what I believe. I love that. I love that. Keep that up. Don't lose that. But I am going to tell you something. God's will not make sense. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart. Lean not unto thine own
Understanding.
in all thy ways. Acknowledge him and he'll direct thy paths. Guys, I will tell you, some of you will never see God's very best for your life because you stayed too long in wanting to know why. And God says, no, I'm not telling you why. You just need to obey. Because guys, these are some really weird instructions. Would you agree? I mean, okay, how are we gonna overcome this city? You're gonna walk around it 13 times and then you're gonna shout. Now think about how stupid that is, guys. Lean not unto thy own understanding. I'm telling you, now don't let number 4 get by you. What did Joshua need to do? He needed to ask some questions and know why. Hey God, why are you doing this? No. He needed to obey this captain and trust this captain. God, I don't know, this is the weirdest thing in the world, but I'm going to trust you. Number 5, what is my Jericho? What is my Jericho? Okay, this is really good. A Jericho could be a crisis. A Jericho could be a conflict. A Jericho could be a compulsion. They got to all start with C, okay? A compulsion. A Jericho could be a character flaw. Ooh, that's a tough one to overcome a character flaw. That's a big Jericho. But the number one Jericho for most people is probably no one's going to get this. No one's going to get this. I'll give you a $20 Chick-fil-A card, you get this one. You know it starts with a C though. No one's going to get this one.
It's cheating because it's in the next part of the notes, but it's conclusion, right?
Oh! Yeah, you didn't get that. Thank you, Emily. Yeah, way to go. Everyone go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. This is going to be one of the coolest things of today's lesson. So I'm going to explain to you what a stronghold is. What is a Jericho spiritually? 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 6. You're just pretty sharp, man. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse number 3. Franco, start reading it. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse number 3. I really do mean this, guys. I think this is going to be the coolest thing of the class today, and there's been a lot of cool stuff today in class.
For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh.
For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. Okay? What's our warfare? Go ahead, keep reading, Frank. I'm sorry.
Oh, verse 4?
Yes.
Okay. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds.
Okay. So we got this word now, strongholds. Kyler's going to read verse number 5, and we're going to find out what a stronghold is. Oh, I'll tell you what I need. Aaron, look up Romans 3:28. Look up Romans 3:28. Okay, get ready, guys. Everyone listen to verse 5.
Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
Okay. Casting down every, what's the first word? Casting down every imaginations. The word imaginations is found in Romans 3:28. Aaron, very loud, very clear. Read Romans 3:28.
Therefore we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the needs of the law.
And now we know. What is the word imaginations found in Romans 3:28? What's the word? Guys, what's the word?
Conclude.
Conclude. Everyone look this way. This is life-changing. And some of you guys are going to help other people with this. The word imaginations in 2 Corinthians 10:5 is the same Greek word, conclusion, in Romans 3:28. What is a stronghold in your life? It is a conclusion of a lie that you believe. You have concluded something about authority. You've concluded something about yourself in pride. You've concluded something about yourself in failure. You've concluded something about something somebody did to you, and you will not forgive them because you've made a conclusion, and bitterness now has become a stronghold. A stronghold is a conclusion of a lie that you believe. And guess who operates from a stronghold? Who makes up shop? Who sets up their kingdom from this stronghold?
Satan.
Who?
Satan.
Satan. The Bible says, give no place to the devil. Don't let the devil have a stronghold in your life. Guys, people get, I counsel students, and these kids they love God, they're here, they're saved, but they've got strongholds in their life. They have imagined, isn't that word imagination is a cool word? They have concluded in their fantasies, in their mind, they have concluded, this person's against me. This scenario's not right. God made a mistake in my life. I think I can do this, and that's in the flesh, Bob. That ain't by the power of God. You've made a conclusion that's not based on truth, but that conclusion has built itself, and Satan can shoot from there, and Satan can make a beachhead from there, and Satan can attack every area of your life because of the stronghold. There is a reason why they got to knock Jericho down first, guys. Before they're going to conquer any of the land, Jericho's got to come down. They've got to destroy the strongholds in their life. And guys, you will never live. What's the theme to the book of Joshua? You will never experience the victorious Christian life until you break down the strongholds in your life. Now, look at this. This is really cool. Look at verse 13, 14, and the second day by the way, do we end at 1 or 1:15? Okay, good. And the second day they compassed the city. Where am I here? And it came to pass at the seventh time when the priests blew the trumpets, verse 17, and the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab, I love that, only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that are sent. Where did we end reading? Where did we end? Who read the last one? Candace? Or Candace, you read?
Candace read the last one.
I read.
Okay, go ahead, Josh. You got it, verse 18.
Verse 18.
I think that's where we are.
I read verse 10.
Verse
I know I've read all the way to verse 18 now. So we're now back to you guys. Go ahead.
And ye, in any wise, keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed when ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel accursed, and trouble it.
Okay, keep going.
But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto the Lord. They shall come into the treasury of the Lord.
Okay, so this is important. The spoils of the first battle go to who? God. He always deserves the first of whatever you do in your life. By the way, I think Dr. R says this. I think it's cool. Give him those first 4 years after you graduate from high school. Give that over to God. I love that because I do think you give God the tithe. The first thing out of your paycheck goes to God. I think there's a principle here. You honor God first. The very first battle they're going to have against Jericho, all the spoils go to God. Okay, now we all know the story about Achan here, and I don't want to get into that right now. But if by the way, if Achan would have just waited, he could have got all the spoils from Ai. But he didn't wait. And guys, you go first to, by the way, you know the story about Elijah and the widow? And the widow's going around and pick up some sticks to put a fire together and have their last little meal with her son and die. And Elijah says, I'm coming to your house. And what does Elijah ask? What does Elijah tell the woman?
Make them the last bit of bread.
Give me it first. If you ever read that story and go like, wow, Elijah, a little selfish, aren't you? I'm the man of God. Honor me first, and God will honor you. And think of, there's that principle goes all the way through the Bible about that first thing. Okay, where did we leave off, guys? I'm sorry. We've got to get through this chapter. Go ahead. We got Josh. You got the next verse.
20.
Yeah.
So the people shouted when the priest blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city.
And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, and ox and sheep and ass with the edge of a sword.
But Joshua had said unto the two men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her.
And the young men that were spies went in, and brought out Rahab and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all that she had. And they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp.
Where am I? Go ahead, Jordan.
And they burnt the city with fire, and all that was therein. Only the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and iron they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord.
Go ahead, Kyler. Verse 25.
And Joshua saved Rahab, the harlot, alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelleth in Israel, even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho.
And Joshua adjourned them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord, that riseth up and buildeth the city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof, and his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates of it.
Got one more verse. Who's got it? Who's got verse 27?
So the Lord was with Joshua and his family noise throughout all the country.
Okay, so all of you guys did in your project, you all did Joshua chapter 6 as a devotional guide. How many did it as just that chapter for the day? Or how many did it just as a one chapter? How many hooked it with another chapter? Okay, all right. Was there anything that you put in your devotional guide that you would like to mention here? That you asked a question, you saw something that we didn't see here? Is there anyone that you got something out of Joshua 6 that we haven't covered? Do any of you have a question about Joshua chapter 6 or observation that you have an observation from Joshua chapter 6? Am I saying 7? I said Joshua chapter 6. From Joshua chapter 6, is there anyone that has an observation, a question, something that you put in your paper, anything at all? Yeah, McKenna, what do you got?
I just always thought it was interesting in the story of Jericho, obviously, how he makes them do something. Even though we were talking about earlier, they're walking around the wall and they're like questioning it, but he makes them do that. So in my devotional guide, I asked the question, what are some steps that God may want you to take before he does?
Oh, that was a great question to ask. What are some things that God may be asking you to do that may not make sense or whatever? Ooh, that was a really good one. That is a really good question to ask in the devotional guide, especially for young people. Yeah.
So I have a question. So the ark went before all the people when they crossed the Jordan.
Yeah.
So why did it follow everyone now?
Wow, is that what's happening?
Because
So they march around and now the ark's behind them.
Because verse 8 says, And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns passed on before the Lord, and blew the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. Say
the next word after followed.
them.
Followed what?
Them, following the priests.
The priests.
and the armed men that went before the priest. So you had the armed men, then you had the priest, and then you had the ark. So the ark followed last.
Read that again. I'm not sure. I've never thought this before. So, but I want to make sure that your question is even valid. Read the verses again. What verses are you on, Kyler?
8 and 9.
Okay, hold on. Okay, you may be onto something that I have never dug into. Okay, so I'm kind of interested. Let me go ahead and read it on. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns. By the way, y'all know what a ram horn is called, right? Shofar. A shofar. Can you all say that word? Shofar. Yeah, I got to learn some Hebrew. Okay, so the horns is shofar. Okay, the ram horns passed on before the Lord. Okay, before the Lord. And blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priest. Okay, now I did not catch what you were saying. Now I do. Went before the priest that blew. All right. So now Kyler's got a question that Dr. Shetler doesn't know the answer to. So, that doesn't scare me. There's a bunch of, you can definitely ask questions I don't know. So why is the ark now, when it used to be before, why is it now behind them, representing the presence of God? Anyone have a thought? Emily?
It's not necessarily leading them here. Like, they had already had their command that they're supposed to be walking around. And when they crossed over the Jordan.
Yeah, they know where they're going here.
Yeah.
They're going around the city. Yeah. You know, that's interesting. This is kind of an interesting thought. Okay, I do not know the answer to your question, but I like to think on stuff like this. So I love the question. Before we saw the ark, God's presence before them, now we see God's presence behind them. And maybe there's another passage we'll see God's presence with them, that God's presence is everywhere. So I don't have that as and this is the reason, Kyler. But that could be something that now we see the ark's presence. Hey, now you're going into battle. You know where you're going. You know what you're doing. I want you to know I'm behind you in what you're doing. So Emily, that is a very good answer. I love that answer, actually. Yeah, Eric?
I think maybe it goes back to because they're behind him and they're marching forward, God's still with him. It's not always you can see him. And he's still there.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because they can't see him now because he's behind them. The ark is behind them. But even when you can't see him, God's with you. I like that devotional point. Yeah, Josh?
What if they just wanted to turn around, they would see that the Lord is there, and that they would realize that they're not supposed to turn around because God is still with them and God is still guiding them forward. I had it more articulated in my head.
Yeah, because I got lost.
And then it got lost.
But I know, I love that you're stabbing at it. And you may have something good that you stabbed. I'm not grabbing on the same thing. Go ahead,
Can I
Emily.
add on to that? I kind of see where he's going.
You're going to add on to that?
Yeah. I feel like that's what I first thought too, because it's like they're walking silently over and over, like they're so silent, and I wanted to think too much, so I'd be like thinking about this, like what are we doing, over and over and over again, and like he's like, I guess if they just like turn, like look, like maybe we should go back, this is stupid, like this is crazy, and then they see the ark and they're like, oh, we need to keep walking.
That's a great point.
That's what I was trying to say.
No, okay, so I see this is, the presence of God. I love it. Guys, that's good. I don't have the answer to that, but I think that's good, and I think when we read the scriptures, we should think things like that. Is there anything else on Joshua 6 before I review your test? Yeah, go ahead.
I was only going to say one thing about Rahab, because it's like almost that whole part.
Yeah, this is cool. No one has mentioned Rahab in this chapter.
It seemed like she had all of her family together, and everybody was kind of in the same place, and she was ready, almost. I thought that was kind of a cool picture of being ready, that when the Lord comes, that they're ready to go.
Yeah. I do. I like that. I do. I think, and I'm glad you brought up Rahab, actually. I think that's really good. All right, you guys ready? So here's the scoop, guys. Your last test, you didn't have anything on memorials, did you? On your past and all that? Did you guys have that already?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. You guys had a test with the memorials.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think I'm gonna give you a test then. But here's the deal. What's gonna end up happening is, Monday after class, you'll have a test, and then the midterm will be Wednesday after class. That's the only thing. You guys want the test this week? I don't have as much material, but we do have the 4 days of Gilgal. I have enough I could put together a test. You guys want it?
Yeah.
You know what, if I were you guys, I would take it now, because otherwise you're getting this test Monday, and then you're taking your midterm on Wednesday. Are you with me? So let's do it. Okay, so here's what the test's gonna be on. Everything about chapter 5, and you guys better know that outline. And I do want the word repentance, not renunciation, all right? So know the 4 R's. There's a bunch of stuff in there. Israel always returned to Gilgal. And how important, what's the word Gilgal mean? Everyone together? To roll away. You gotta know that. There'll be some things about circumcision, about the momentum stopping, about Passover, about taking responsibility, manna ceasing. They gotta find their own truths now. Oh, there's just good stuff in there. Okay, then, so you think you know the story of Jericho. There will be a lot on the theophanies, about the captain of the host. Who is it that comes to Joshua? Yeah, the pre-incarnate. You definitely need to know that. Why is this encounter so important? He comes as the captain of the host. Make sure you know that. We've just talked about a lot of things. The test will not be that long. Probably about 20, at the most 25 questions, I would imagine. But let's go ahead and take that now. We're not doing too bad. We're a little bit behind, but not bad. We're really not bad. Next class, we'll talk about how to stay out of trouble, because they got into trouble there with that AI thing. I'll tell you one thing. I can't wait to talk to you about the battle plan on overcoming AI, because it's what Israel still uses today. Okay, you are dismissed. You're welcome to get another little hug here on these breaks. Thank you. Yeah.
I got it. I got it. Thank you, Dr. Jones.
You're welcome. No, come and get a drink if you like. Hey, Libby! She's still here? Come and see me. I thought you had brought this. Are you still sure you're in this class?
Apparently the
How did you do that? Oh, would you turn off the video, Jason?
Wait, what?
Or Kyler, whoever, turn it on.
Wisconsin, he's coming in.